God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what they say about you. God only knows how it's killing you. But there's a kind of love that God only knows. God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what they say about you. But God only knows the real you. There's a kind of love that God only knows.
Welcome to Season 2, Episode 30 of Your Journey is Not Over. My name is Tanya Pearson Randolph. This is my own personal journey, and the expressions and opinions are of my own. I own all the rights to my personal journey, and to your journey is not over. Neither are to be used, copied, or edited in any way without my consent. Before I do jump back into my own personal journey, which, yes, is today, believe it or not. But before I do want to say that I'm now entering the part of my journey where I begin dating. Not a lot, but dating people other than my first love. And with my journey involving others, I'm going to have to be as forthcoming as I possibly can, but also tread the line on others' privacy. I in no way ever want to offend or disrespect those or their spouses. Mind you, this was close to 40 years ago, okay? So yes, everyone has moved on with their lives. They've married, got kids, grandkids even. I am not telling my journey to disparage anyone or sell out anyone. No way at all. My hopes are that people hear my journey and relate. If these things and events, passed on my journey can happen to me, then guess what? They can happen to anyone, and vice versa. There are some that probably aren't going to like what I speak on, and that's okay. Because as legal counsel has told me, this is my own personal journey. And well, there are things that never should have been done to me, and I wouldn't have them to speak on. But I have to show and tell those darkest paths of my journey. Again, as God said, to relate and show that no matter how dark some of my paths were, that my perseverance, my refusal to give up or give in, and most importantly, my faith kept me moving forward, always. As my grandma said, you ain't brave unless you're scared, child. As long as you have faith, you will have hope for a change, no matter what. So, getting back to 1986, as I said many episodes ago, I had gotten myself into my first physically abusive relationship. Same as when my mom would beat on me. I hated looking in the mirror, seeing my black eyes, busted mouth, bruises. That was always worse mentally than the hits themselves. To actually see the damage to my face always crumbled me. Looking back, I'm like, how did someone like me even get into those kind of relationships? I have, and I still do, a mouth, a backbone, a strong mind, pretty independent. Had no choice at a young age but to become independent. Once my brother was made to go live with other family, I was on my own. I had to learn to survive, figure it out. So let me tell you how that happened to someone like me, okay? I was essentially abandoned by both parents. I sure didn't know my worth or my value. And being the nurturer that I am, let's not forget, pretty naive and gullible too. Old school thinking, old fashioned views on the world too. Trusting. I was easy to manipulate and convince anything. So again, abandonment issues, codependency issues, and how I put it now, I was looking for what I thought was love in all the wrong places and attracting people that talked to me and treated me just like my mom did. This was normal to me, what I thought love to be. All I knew. So yes, that's how someone like me got myself into some really bad relationships, physically abusive relationships. I had been taught this is love, and in some twisted way, because it was normal to me, It was all I knew. I thought this is what I must deserve. All the abuse, the trauma I had endured. It set me up for this. I was programmed to know only this type of life, this type of love. Now I'm like, how crazy for me to have relationships with people identical to the one person I wanted so bad to never be like, and the one person I wanted so bad to escape from, my mom. So, yes, life with my mom set me up to attract self serving narcissists, manipulators, and people that physically, mentally, and emotionally abused me. That was love. No, it wasn't. I wish I could tell my 15-year-old self all the things I know now, but then I wouldn't have learned the lessons, gotten the experience, and have the knowledge to speak on it now, would I? Experience is something that can't be taught or relayed in a book, and it can't be bought. So to me, experience is priceless. So that year, I took driver's ed. By the way, I had the best driver's ed teacher. He was laid back and real calm. And on my days that I got to drive, we would go to McDonald's for breakfast. And I would buy his breakfast so that I could drive anywhere in our city that I wanted to. A little bribery never hurt anyone, right? Plus, it was also considered a class at school. So I got credit for it. It was a win win. My relationship ended horribly. And well, I just stayed single and I focused on school, my jobs. By this time, I was working at the dairy bar seasonal. And in those winter months, I was still at the steakhouse, cleaning houses, and I had a job at our mall at a retail store. Busy as per my usual, on schedule, on task. When it was finally time to get my driver's license, my dad took me, as he did everything that parents do. Exciting, as with every teenager. More freedom. Of course, more cost. I had to buy the car, gas, upkeep, insurance. So, February 2nd, 1987, I got my driver's license. Exactly 1 month and 1 day after my 16th birthday. So, I drove my dad's car. It was in the middle of winter, and being inexperienced, I didn't drive a lot. Once spring came, I was back to the dairy bars and I quit my job at the mall. It was time to start looking for me a car. I found one that I liked, a 1976 Regal Cutlass. It was nice, a little big, and it had a big motor. But at 16 years old, you're fearless and you can drive anything. And the bigger the motor, the faster the car, right? At least that was my thinking at 16 years old. I had stopped and looked at it and talked to the guy that had it for sale, and I was short $150, even though I'd been saving my money. So I remember asking if he could hold it for me for a couple weeks. He said pretty much, whoever comes with the money first, then it's sold. First come, first serve kind of thing. If you know me, then you already know. If I'm excited about something, then everyone around me has to hear all about it. I'm like a little kid, even to this day. I can't contain my excitement. So everyone around me had to hear all about this car I wanted. Well, a few days went by, and I still was riding to school with my dad. The car that was for sale was on the corner of our road in the guy's yard. A few days later, the car was gone. My heart dropped. I had my heart set on that car, but it was gone, and I assumed sold. Later that day, I went to work at the dairy bar. And yes, I was pretty bummed out and sad that whole evening, and telling everyone at work that the car was gone. Again, most likely sold. As we were cleaning up and get ready to close the dairy bar for the evening, my boss, the owner of the dairy bar, well, she asked me to ride with her to her house so that we could get supplies for the dairy bar. They had a storage shed at their house full of cups, lids, napkins, straws, etc. for the dairy bar. Nothing unusual. I'd went with her several times, but this time would be a night I will never forget. We pulled in her driveway, and there sat the car I'd wanted with a big red bow on it. She said we, her husband and she, knew how bad that you wanted it, so we went and got it for you. She said it will stay here until you have the money to pay us back, and plate it and insure it. I was so excited, and of course, I cried. Happy tears, of course. Yes, it was the car I had had my heart set on, but the fact that someone thought enough of me to get it for me and surprise me meant the world to me, and it still does to this very day. In the world that I came from, and especially after my grandma and my great aunt passed away, there wasn't a lot of kindness or thoughtfulness in my family, other than my dad, of course. But in my family, no, it was every man or woman for themselves, and very competitive in nature. So for my boss to be that thoughtful and to love me enough to want to see me have what I wanted, to want to make me happy, was definitely not something I was used to. God sends angels along our journey to help us, to make us smile, laugh, bring happiness, to give us hope and faith in others. I do not own the rights to the things that I chose to share today. Talk to God. Father, I do not want to just survive. I want to live with joy again, real joy. I miss smiling without forcing it. I miss waking up with wonder. You made me for more than weakness. Breathe new life into my spirit. Show me beauty again, even in the small things. Trade my bitterness for healing, my heaviness for hope. Teach me how to delight in you like I once did. I believe you still delight in me. I just need your help, Father, believing joy can return. And with man, this is possible. But with God, all things are possible. Matthew 19, verse 26. Even in your hardest moments, I hope you remember this. You can never truly fall. Grace is always catching you. Love is sustaining you. Purpose is still unfolding within you because your life is held together by a force greater than you. So breathe more often. This one's called the time leak theory. You're not wasting hours, you're leaking years. A few weeks in the wrong place, a few months around the wrong people, a few years doing something you never wanted to do, and suddenly you wake up and you wonder where your life went. You don't lose time all at once. You lose it slowly by saying, just one more day, to a life that doesn't deserve you. Live, love, and laugh. It's your journey, so please enjoy the journey. This concludes my podcast for today. Please join me next Tuesday. Listen in, and always remember, your journey is not over. God bless.
God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what they say about you. God only knows how it's killing you. But there's a kind of love that God only knows. God only knows what you've been